Hey geeks, I'm back. As promised, with part 2 of my favorite 80s horror movies. I've been really excited about this. Every day I've wanted to do it, but no, gotta wait for the weekend. Gotta wait for the weekend. Plus, I kind of had the flu, so it wouldn't have been a good idea. Anyway, let's jump right into it. I'm really excited for this. I'm gonna start off with Cujo. I imagine everybody's heard of Cujo, based off the Stephen King book. It's a very simple movie, but very well done. I really liked it, and it was, as a child, terrifying. Anyway, the next one's kind of goofy. I didn't like. They're It's like a horror comedy, I guess. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I can see why it's goofy. A lot of people don't even consider it a horror movie, but it is. Like, little kids would be scared, and clowns are creepy. So it makes sense. Put it on the horror list, right? My friend Mike and I, who I mentioned before, we used to watch this a lot. Sleepaway Camp. That was a good one. I'm not going to tell you anything about it. I want to tell you about these movies, but I don't want to tell you too much in case you haven't seen them and you decide to check them out. I don't want to ruin it for you, right? Sleepaway Camp's a good one, though. I believe it's the first in a series. I don't remember the other ones, though, but I like the first one a lot. The next one is called Near Dark. Alright. I said in part 1 here that I remember liking a lot of them, but it's been so long I might not remember a lot, and this is one of them. If I remember correctly, it's a vampire movie, but you can't quote me on that because it has been like 30 years since I've seen them. So, I'm going to assume it sounds like it would be. It was a really good movie, though. I remember liking it a lot. I love this movie. It's not a really wide known one either, for some reason. The next one's more well known. I said in part 1 there was a Corey Haim movie, and it won't be the only one. This is another Corey Haim movie. Silver Bullet. Another Stephen King one, actually. Love this. Silver Bullet has, it's safe to say Silver Bullet is my favorite werewolf movie ever. Love Silver Bullet. I've always loved it. I've seen that movie 100 times or so. Up next, I believe this one was remade recently, but the original is great. The Hitcher. I loved that movie. I consider it a horror movie. Some people say it's suspense. It the only way I explain it, like, I actually know people, the Hitcher and stuff like that. They were scared to pick up any hitchhikers for the longest time after watching this movie. It's really well done. Love it. Actually, if I recall correctly, my wife and I found this on VHS at a yard sale years ago. Not years ago, like a few years ago. And we had to get it because it's the Hitcher. Alright, another Corey Haim movie. Well, technically it's Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Keith Sutherland, Jason Patrick. Do you know what it is yet? The Lost Boys. Love The Lost Boys. Who doesn't love The Lost Boys? Love the soundtrack as well, but love The Lost Boys. Holy crap. That's one of the movies my wife and I kind of share that we love. The Lost Boys. I can't say enough about The Lost Boys. I imagine everybody's heard of it, but if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. You don't have to worry about the sequels. Don't watch part 2. I'm sorry. I was so excited to hear there's a sequel to Lost Boys. Yes. I watched it like, why did I watch that? But anyway, sorry. Love The Lost Boys. Alright. In part 1 of my video, I had Nightmare on Elm Street part 1. Love Nightmare on Elm Street. For Friday the 13th, my favorite Friday the 13th movie is part 4. The final chapter. Which by itself is a lie, because it was not the final chapter, but it was supposed to be. This is the one with Corey Feldman. Played young Tommy Jarvis. Which I believe is actually Corey Feldman's first movie. I might have to research that a little bit, but I'm pretty sure it was his first actual big movie role. Love Friday the 13th Part 4 so much. It is my favorite Friday the 13th movie. Let me know below if you have a favorite Friday the 13th movie. Alright, this one was remade as well over the last few years with Colin Farrell. Horrible movie. Which partly could be because how much I love the original. This is a movie I actually found on DVD. Love it so much. Fright Night. I love it. I like saying it like that because it's in the movie. Charlie is watching a show with his hero there. And that's how they... Welcome to Fright Night. And it's awesome. I loved Evil Ed. Played by Stephen Jeffries. Loved it. It still has one of the best lines ever, which I still quote when I'm picking on friends. I'm like, "You're so cool, Brewster." Remember that? Love it. He was kind of rude, but anyway, it is one of my favorite vampire movies of all time. One of my favorite horror movies of all time is Fright Night. Not to be confused with the original. I mean, not to be confused with the remake. The remake was all kinds of bad. Like, McLovin from Superbad played Evil Ed. It was not the same at all. Watch the original if you haven't seen it yet. Great, 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 great vampire movie. Alright. Up next, Gremlins. I debated on this one. I love the movie Gremlins. Some people say, oh, it's kind of a... Believe it or not, when I researched for this, Gremlins was on a list of the best family movies from the 1980s. I mean, in a way, I get it, like, Gizmo's kind of cute, but the dude is nuts. You get him wet and he goes psycho and starts killing people, and I don't... It's one of those movies... How do I explain it? I don't really know how to explain it because my daughter watches these videos. I don't want her watching it until she is older. Because right now she's 10. It's still a great age. So, I don't really know how to explain it other than that. Up next, another Stephen King one. Which, honestly, I had forgotten about. I didn't forget about the movie, but I didn't think about adding it on here until, like, last night. Children of the Corn. That was also remade recently. That started off a whole big franchise as well. But love Children of the Corn with Malachi and Isaac and Linda Hamilton. Love Children of the Corn. That was freaky. He Who Walks Behind the Rose. That's it. That's the line from the movie. But it's still not as cool as "You're so cool, Brewster." Love that. Alright, the last one on my 80s list is a movie, my friend Mike and I. As I said, we watch horror movies all the time. We loved our horror movies. But there was one movie, that we put on. I don't remember if we rented it or borrowed it from somebody. It's not important. We watched it. We were about 5, 10, 15 minutes into this movie. And it showed Pumpkinhead. That's the name of the movie. It showed Pumpkinhead. And I don't know what it was about him, but we immediately shut that movie off. And honest, I am 100% truthful here. It took me over 10 years to finish watching that movie. I don't know why, but Pumpkinhead freaked us right the hell out. It did. It was bad. That was a really well done movie. It's kind of sad that it took me so long to finish it. Because we started watching it in the 80s and then, nope. I don't remember, I think I actually went out and rented it again like 10 years later. But finally finished it, and now it's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. But yeah, it's kind of embarrassing to admit that we just, nope. hell with this movie. We'll watch something else. We'll go watch Ninja Turtles or something. I don't remember what it was now, but anyway, that's it for my favorite horror movies of the 1980s. In my opinion, one of the greatest decades for horror movies out there. As usual, dislike if you have to, but either way, subscribe. We are getting so close to 200 people in this geeky community of ours. Let's get up there. As usual, I want you to let me know down below your favorite 80s horror movies. And maybe if you have any ideas for future stuff, like it doesn't have to be movies, like music, anything like that you want me to talk about, list of favorites or whatever, let me know. As usual, thank you for watching, my fellow geeks.